Hey guys, it's Penelope in London, and we're going to look at the full moon that's coming up in the coming hours on the 22nd of August. And in the UK, it will be at 1:01 p.m. And if you're in New York, it will be you're 5 hours behind. And if you're in California, then you're 8 hours behind that one. So it'll be earlier in the morning for you. It'll be for 9 a.m. if you're in New York, and then we go back 9, 7, 8, 6. It's probably 6, 7, or 5 or 6. Double check, and don't take my word for that, but I do know that it's 1:01 a.m. in the United Kingdom. You can see here 13:01, and this is United Kingdom time. So what we want to look at is the chart of today. And the other thing I'm going to do is show you my chart. If you want to see an up-to-date chart here, go to Astro Seek. See the up here, astro.astro/seek horoscopes. Sorry, horoscopes. You can see there, see that there. You go there and you get, put in your details. You can see here. And you get a birth natal chart online calculator, and you just put your details in, but you need your time, because without your time, you're not going to get your rising sign. The other thing going on is that we have Uranus, you can see here, and this chart is actually showing the UK time. So in the UK, it will be Scorpio rising, but don't take any notice of that if you're elsewhere in the world. We then got Uranus is retrograde. It's literally gone retrograde in the last 24 hours just. And this is Aquarian energy. The last full moon was also in the sign of Aquarius. And the other thing I want to show you is what's happening on my chart, so that you'll be able to understand your own as well. So I'm going to swap over to solar fire shortly. The other thing I'm going to do, because I will come off camera in a little while, you see this book here, Chiron, and it's The Healing Journey, and it's Melanie Reinhardt. What I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about the Chiron in aspect to Venus. So if you look at Chiron, which is our wound, and Chiron is currently in Aries, and Chiron is in this opposition with Venus, and Chiron is the collective wound and our own wound, wherever it is in our chart at the moment. But I'm going to show you my own chart now, so you can see something here. Right, so this page, making sure I share the right page. There you go. So you can see for me, the full moon is going to happen in my 9th house. You can see here that it's the 9th house, and the moon is in my 3rd house, which is, that's my house of communication, and this is the house of higher education and truth and justice and spirituality and religion and stuff like that. So you want to look where that moon is falling for you, because if you don't look, then you're not going to be able to, you're going to get more information where that's falling for you. It is important. If you look at this, if you were looking at my chart, now you can get an app also. You can get apps online. And for your, I've got one called Time Passages. So what you can do is put in, get this app. I think it's free. There's a professional version of Time Passages. But if I give you this now, that sun, you can see here, it's squaring to my ascendant. And it's also square to my descendant. And again, the moon is doing the same thing to me. So I've also got the moon is also square to my natal sun. You can see here, because I'm 0 degrees. So the moon is squaring my natal sun. And the moon is also square to my ascendant as well. And then there's a few things that are going on there for me. The sun is quintile to my natal moon. So you can see a quintile is 72 degrees. So there's some good stuff going on in there. And the squares are basically where something wants to manifest. So it's not all, when it says square, it's like, it can sound really hard. But if I look at the sun square, my natal sun, it's basically a few days where there may be stress. And also, but there may be ideas that I've been wanting to hatch in the past months that are going to come to fruition. So, that tension can be a good thing. So do go over also to astro.com. You can use various apps to understand charts, It's really useful. So now what I'm going to do is come out of sharing my screen, and I'm going to go over to Solarfire and go a bit deeper into the chart. So let's do this. I'm going to stop share first of all. No, I'm not. First of all, I'm going to stop my video, and then I'm going to do a new share. That's what I'm doing. So watch this here. This is the emanated page. And what we have is that you can see, if I get my marker as well, and I'd like to know where it is in your houses. If you know where this is falling for you, it would be great to know. So what you have, okay. So I can move this so that you can see here, we're going to go bring this right in alignment. This is 1243. Is this BST? Let me just, that's GMT, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to bring that back to 2936, where the sun is. So there you go. And then I'm going to show you and talk about this chart a bit. There you go. Right, so you can see the sun is opposite and the sun is in Leo. We want to look at what Aquarius means as well. So that's 29 degrees of Aquarius. And just before it, when it was going to fall into Pisces, it's quite amazing how things work out in astrology. So what we have is that with the Aquarius, the keywords are liberation from conditioning. It's to do with our individuality. It's to do with individuation and rebellion. We can probably feel that there's a lot of fear right now. You know, it's like, where are we going? You know, can we travel? Can we do this? Can we do that? Do we have to go along with various guidelines? It's very confusing time for all of us. And to remain strong, we have to, you know, really go by our own values and believe. It's what we believe in for ourselves individually at this time. You know, nobody's right, nobody's wrong. We're all living parallel, like universes, parallel realities. Everybody's got a world unto themselves, and it can be seen in astrology what we're trying to do individually. When we look at the Aquarius, you know, it's also to do with trauma, it's to do with alienation, it's hopes and ideals, it's our long-term memory, it's the tribe, the community, fragmentation, projection. It can be shocking, unique, splitting. It can be due to with mass trauma, Prometheus. It's revolutionary. It's where we feel ostracized and cast out. It's also telepathy and objective awareness, which is the great thing with Aquarius. The Aquarius moon is, you know, the ability to objectify as well and not get too caught up in the emotions. So with the moon, which basically is our emotional being, you know, its mother, it's very deep connection to our ego as well, you know, what can be subjective also. But it's our relationship with our emotions can be complicated with this moon in Aquarius. And we want to be free, and we want to free ourselves from negative emotions such as fear and anger and jealousy. But it can also be that, you know, where we will expect, people may expect us to be tolerant, but then, you know, when they show those emotions, but they won't have tolerance for us. So, you know, that can work out in funny ways. It's where we may have the tendency to create the greatest distance from our natural instincts and emotions, because we can definitely objectify with this moon, full moon. And the situation, we may find ourselves in situations where we unconsciously get ourselves, where we have to accept the reality. So there's partly where we're having to accept this reality, which can feel quite difficult for us. And, you know, how do we get our heads around it? And in a way, maybe not being too overly involved in our emotions, particularly at this time, is very useful. And it's also where we can, you know, we can give other people impartial and good advice. The relationships with this can be unpredictable as well. You know, it can be an unpredictable sort of thing, because it's Uranus is quite shocking, and Uranus actually went retrograde. If you see this chart here, and you've got, I'm going to show you a bit closer. You see this here, Uranian energy, Uranus, and that Uranus is basically, you see the R there. I'm going to take this back by hours, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to go back. In fact, let's go back one day. So if I go back one day, it says retrograde. And then, let me see, 21st. What I'm going to do is go hours ahead now. So watch this. It should go station. It may not show the stationary here. Or maybe it was stationary and then it went RX. Okay, it must have been the day before. I'm going to go back anyway, just for fun, and show you. There you go, stationary on the 20th of August, which was fascinating because a friend of mine posted a brilliant article on artificial intelligence and how, you know, the depths of it. I was really amazed, the depths of what we think is a paperless world. And, you know, we believed when computers came in. I know that I was, you know, in my 30s when I first got my first computer and my first mobile phone, you know, we're going back 25 years ago, and how things have really developed and so much data is held, and we can see how things work on social media, how, you know, things that can be controlled and followed, and, you know, clearly some of it has to be, because otherwise we could all go, there could be just too much information floating around. But also, you know, we've got the darker side of the internet as well, where things need to be observed and dealt with and shut down. So there are many ways that artificial intelligence works. In some ways it makes our lives easier, but in other ways it can make us more like an automated sort of world, and to be quite heartless as well. You know, it's like when you get a letter, for instance, like a generated letter by a computer, and we've got the reality that we think it's personal, or even if we get a notice saying, you know, disinformation on a post we've made, we can take it so personally, when really it's just computer generated stuff going on, like reminders and stuff like that. So it can seem quite harsh, and because we can be going through so much as human beings. But I think with this moon, you can see here that it's just at that point, it's conjunct Jupiter. And also we've got the Jupiter is opposition to the sun as well. We've got here Mercury and is conjunct Mars. And then we've got Venus opposing Chiron. We've got, I'm going to run through some of these transits. So, you know, also always with the sun, the full moon is always opposition to the moon. And it's where the emotions and feelings of the moon are the opposites of the ego and individuality of the sun. So this can cause conflicts, but it's a culmination. So culminations can cause conflicts if we think about it in ways, you know, it's like oppositions do, because it's a, you know, it's a tug of from one opposite to the other. The sun opposition to Jupiter creates idealism, and also it's where we can, you know, there can be strange or dubious movements, and also where we're willing to make sacrifices as well. We can be overly optimistic, which is not a great thing. And, you know, it can also be where we don't want really to commit to anything, you know, this thing that's going on with the sun, and the sun is in Leo. So if we look at Leo then, and what does the meaning of Leo mean? The ultimate is going to be is that we get to a place where we're opening our hearts, because a lot of people are shutting down from each other. And this means that I know in my own circle of friends that people are making different decisions, and then people are also telling people what they think they should do. And this is not always useful when we're feeling very emotional about life. You know, if you've got a very emotional moment going on and somebody's trying to fix you, that can feel very painful and very difficult. So what you want to do is, you know, really, if you can find your, maybe find people that you know that you can have a conversation with, that are not going to try and fix you. And if you're able to discuss things, your fears, your hopes and your dreams, because the moon is going to be in Aquarius. Actually, I'm going to take that back a bit, because that moon is 1 hour ahead. Let's go back a bit. Hang on a sec. 29, 36. There you go. Got it correct. So that moon is in Aquarius, and, you know, it's our hopes and dreams. So we know that to be true with Aquarius, and it's the hopes and dreams of humanity, all of us, but also within our individual groups as well. So the Leo is where it's about power, it's about self-actualization, it's the arts, it's integration, it's about our purpose, and it's about involvement, and it's about the heart. It's where we can be grandiose and there can be subjective awareness. It's where we could want special recognition. So we really want to value ourselves and not dismiss the things that we believe in, you know, so easily. We want to be able to live out our soul's desires. This is why we're here. It's also where we can take risks, and it's creativity, and it can be where we want applause, and sometimes, you know, we may not feel we're getting it, but we've got to be able to do that for ourselves, you know, to give ourselves a pat on the back, and to know that, you know, what, just because our thoughts are not the same as everybody else's doesn't necessarily mean we're wrong. It's about what we're feeling inside. What do I feel about something? The Mercury is conjunct Mars. You can see this here, Mercury conjunct Mars. And it's where, you know, Mercury's gone over, but, you know, it's where our thinking can be very fast and practical with that, as that's happened. I found that in the last few days as well. I've had a lot of insights the last few days. I don't know if that's that station that's gone on there. I had some insights through some information that came to me, which was a little bit shocking. In my own life, sorting something out, but, you know, it was something from the past, from my long-term memory, that's been able to be, I've been able to put some closure from. So there's a culmination in that for me. And also because it's in my 9th house, this is why you want to know the houses that it's in for you, because it defines what area of life is being resolved for you, you know, with this, the culmination, what's it doing? And definitely for me, it's been about, you know, it's to do with law, it's to do with truth, it's to do with overseas stuff as well, you know, it's to do with spirituality, the 9th house. So that's where the full moon is falling for me. And then we've also got, I'm just looking at any other interesting aspects there. The Mercury is opposition to Neptune, and this can complicate, let me see here. Neptune is here, and not the moon is opposite Neptune. Let's see. The Mercury opposite Neptune. That's what I want to say. Mercury. I actually have that in my natal chart, not the moon. Mercury is opposite Neptune. And this can complicate life. And, you know, because we can be deceived or deceive ourselves or others. So we want to watch out for that at this time as well. With that Mercury, it's moving on in, actually. It's going to be a few days and Mercury will be in opposition. So it's where we can deceive ourselves. So we want to watch out for that. Neptune is sextile to Pluto. There you go. Neptune is sextile to Pluto. You can see that there. And that's harmonious and it's long lasting. It helps, you know, it affects peacemaking attitudes. And that's quite good for peace building at some point down the road. You know, the good news is that that's, you know, it's still in sextile. And if we think that Pluto takes 240 odd years around the chart and Neptune takes about 180, so Neptune will be moving on. So they'll be, again, that sextile is going to be maintained for quite some time, which is good. I would say it's a good, I have that at birth actually as well. I have that on my natal chart. So we've got Venus trine to Saturn, and this is harmonious and it brings responsible behavior and reserved. And it's also to do with social activities of, you know, that go on in the collective, because this is the collective chart. And it's where we can be conventional and stable, the Venus trine Saturn. We've also got Venus, I want to see what else Venus is doing there, because we know that it's in opposition to, the node is, that's it, the node is trine Venus. And this is positive because it can be where we're pleasant and affectionate. And it's also where we like to appreciate beauty as well. And whatever's going on in the world, there's always beauty to be seen if we search. And sometimes we can get stuck in a rut. The node is also trine to Saturn. So if you look if you look at Saturn, and the node is also trine to Saturn, and it's also trine to Venus. And then it's also up here to, so Saturn to Venus, and Venus to the node, and then Saturn to the node. So that looks useful to us, but we've got to move forward. You know, we don't want to stay stuck in a rut. The Mars is trying to Uranus, and Uranus has just gone retrograde. So Mars is here and it's trying to Uranus, but we know that Uranus has now gone retrograde, but it moves very slowly. And Mars trine Uranus is also harmonious, and it gives us individuality, and it gives us unusual interests as well. And also it's where we like to engage in groups where it can be extreme political, as well. And also we skills in engineering as well, and construction. It actually points out that this aspect is great for top level athletes who need short and fast performance. So that's quite interesting to know about the that aspect there, Uranian energy with Venus. So the other thing I would like to do now is look at, from Melanie Reinhardt's book, Chiron, the Healing Journey. We're going to look at this Venus in opposition to Chiron. So I don't think it's got the opposition here, but what I'm going to do is see if I can see, before I read this, I'm just going to see if I bring up the current chart. I want to see, which I can see in front of me, but I want to see if I can get that aspect to be more precise with that. So Chiron is opposition to Venus opposition Chiron. Okay, let's do this. So Venus is, to do with our inner needs. It's to do with money. It's to do, the ruler rules Taurus, and it also Libra as well. But Chiron is our wound. It's the wounded healer, and it's where the acknowledgement of our trauma, where we need to acknowledge our trauma. And with the Venus in the opposition, it can be possible that wounds come up to reveal hidden issues that have long been walled away. And it can also be problems regarding how we relate to others might present themselves. So we're in the collective right now, we can see that we are having issues in how we relate to each other. We're trying to find new footing, because people have got different ideas about what people want to do, what people should do, or what people could do. And people are being quite voicing about what other people should, could, would. And should is not my favorite word, what people should do. Shoulding people, shoulding is not very helpful when we're trying to heal something and resolve something, because that can be forceful. A should is you should do this or you should do that. And we need the transparency of coming together to work out our differences. And this is hopefully something that will be coming up in the future months ahead. But with Chiron in aspect to Venus, this is from the Melanie Reinhardt, Chiron, the Healing Journey. And I'm reading a bit. So with Chiron in aspect to Venus, we may have the gift of seeing beauty where others do not notice it, and of finding value in the, in what they dismiss as ugly, as worthless. So we might, this is the thing, that what some people might think is worthless, other people will see beauty in it. Our values are intensely personal, as we all know. We can see that playing out now, that we've all got very personal values, and we can uphold them with great tenacity, which is really important. Our values are important to us. We've all got different values, and this is what we really need to understand about each other at this time, that our values are different. Our Venetian preoccupations may include philosophical or political issues as we campaign, for instance, like women's rights, racial harmony, or where we become a supporter of the arts. We may quest after someone or something of great beauty and value, or perhaps for wealth, glamour, or romance. So she's talking about Chiron to aspect to Venus here, and that's what I'm reading through. And also, with this placement, we meet people already seem familiar to us. Perhaps we feel we have known them in other lives, and may even have some ideas of details of intractable problems in relationships may resolve by taking this perspective. So you might feel that at the moment, that some people are just, deeply known to you, and that they're part of your, crew, or whatever you want to call it, or part of your tribe, whatever word. I'm not really a great user of the word tribe, but people do like to use that too. So Chiron Venus aspects, we may be opened up to other dimensions of consciousness through intense and sometimes painful relationships. We find inspiration and discover our next steps in life through synchronous meetings with people who bring new ideas and rich interpersonal encounters, suggestions, insights, or business contacts. However, we might not realize that we in turn do just that for others. So, we've got to sort of, with our different values, we have to realize that we're bringing different things to the table and everybody is valuable. The most important relationships in the lives of those with Chiron in aspect to Venus may be those which bring healing in artistic inspiration. And that's really, this is something that it says there, but we can see that we've got our inner needs and then we've got the wounds. So if we take it back to basics, we got the wound here, and then we got our inner needs. So that's moving on in. We can go, let's go days ahead. I'd like any of your thoughts on your own chart if you want to add or anything you've seen here. So that will be the 26th of August. It's going to be in an opposition. Uranus is going retrograde until January. I can't remember the exact date, but that's going on as well. And then we've got, I can see here that Lilith is on the North Node, and Lilith, let me see, is that Black Moon Lilith? I just want to check here. This is Black Moon Lilith, okay? So Black Moon Lilith is on the node, and we've got also, this is a few days ahead. The moon actually then, this is quite interesting. If we go back there you go. This is, if we go back to today, which is the 22nd, and we go, the moon is up here. So the moon, 23rd, is gonna, then it's gonna cross Neptune. And it's crossed Neptune, and that's the 24th. And then we go to the 25th, and then it's going to cross Chiron. And then it's going to also gone over asteroid Lilith. There's 4 different types of Lilith. So it's gone over asteroid Lilith. Then it will go over Eris, which is the goddess of discord. And remember, the moon takes 28 days around the chart. So, this happens monthly. And then it's going to go on to Uranus. So we're busy. That moon is busy. Yeah. It will go over. Yeah. And then it will go, keep going, go over the Lilith again, the node. So, stay strong and, look at your values, look at what you want for yourself at this time, your hopes and dreams, and the hopes and dreams of those that you love. And support each other, and try and be open-minded. It's, I do think somebody was asking me how I see things the other day, and how I tend to see things myself is that when I'm not too in my head, because I'm a Gemini sun, Gemini moon, I've got this other thing going on with my 9th house Pluto, where I can really rise up above. If you imagine raising up above the earth into the sky, and you keep going up and up and up and pretend you're a satellite, like looking down on the earth, I see the big picture. So there are moments when I get so caught up in the fear and the anxiety, and then the, but also the beauty and the joy of being on earth. And then I sort of think, oh my God, it's too much. And then when I look at the bigger picture, I can see the beauty in it. But, there's hardship as well. There's some, real hardship when we look at what's just gone on in Afghanistan, for instance. And that's not the only country that's suffering, but we've seen that play out over the last few months. There were issues in Israel, and, it's very scary to watch these things, and news travels so fast now as well. So, build something for yourself that's really meaningful. And, open your heart to the people. It's very difficult to open our heart to every single human being, but, open your heart where you can open your heart to people, and try and see the bigger picture, and know that people have their differences, and, everybody's feeling under pressure at the moment, for sure. I hope that's really useful, and I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.